Welcome back. You're watching Newslink on DSTV channel 403. Now, state arms manufacturer Denel continues to experience financial difficulties. That's despite government's bailout of R3 billion in this financial year. Staff have not been paid full salaries for 2 years now, forcing them to default on home loans as well as school fees. To get more on this, we're joined by Denel employees' legal representative, Ipileng, good morning and thank you very much for your time. It seems the situation is honestly getting worse there, Denel. But we understand that employees have at least won an urgent interdict to compel the state-owned entity to pay them 13 million rand. Just talk to us about this.
Good morning, ma'am. Yes, we've been going through a series of legal actions against Denel ever since last year, November. And the trajectory is still continuing on the same level. Just to be specific, November we got an order against Denel for 14 employees that were short paid their salaries since 2020 May up until January this year. So following that, we're enforcing an order against Denel for 34 employees that were also not paid their salaries from 2020. So we recently got an order that is last week against Denel for 42 employees that were also not paid their salaries from May 2020 up until the end of this month, the previous month. The order was totaling an amount of 18.2 million. So it appears as if like that is how things are like now. Some of these employees were paid 20% of their salaries, 40% of their salaries. All the normal related employee benefits have not been paid fully. That will be your medical aids and your SARS and so forth. So essentially what that did, it essentially made all these employees to end up not being able to pay their medical aids, your normal household needs, that will be your groceries and so forth. And most of them come from disadvantaged backgrounds where they're taking care of their families, extended family members. So because of that, they've had their cars repossessed. Some of them have had their mortgage loans sold. One of my employees is an elderly man, came to their office very distraught. His property is just about to be attached. So luckily what we did, we got an order and we then at least were able to pay him. And he managed to salvage his house. But the trajectory is still the same. Denel, what he's doing, recently they've paid their employees 40% of their salaries at the end of April. So that is how it has been continuing since May 2020. And some of these employees where we were managed at least to get an order against Denel for the month 18 January this year, they are coming back to say, look, Ipileng, we've not been paid our full salary since February. So can you please at least assist us with the shortfall that Denel failed to pay? Some of them, their retirement funds have not been paid. So the situation is dire, honestly.
No, it's very, very dire. I mean, the fact that you say they're being paid 40%, the reality is in South Africa, even 100% of your salary is not enough. We saw that F&B study of theirs that it gets finished in at least 3 days or so. So 40% would definitely not be enough. But I'm hearing that you're saying here that in one of the matters before the court, you were seeking to enforce an initial order. So meaning when we're celebrating that here, you've been granted an urgent interdict compelling them to pay this 18 million. It might not be the case. Have they indicated that they intend to comply with that specific order?
Well, the current order, I've been speaking with the group legal head yesterday. Well, he said that because we just got the order last week, Tuesday, the 13.2 million order, we got it last week, Tuesday. And according to it, they are given 10 days from the date of service to comply with it, failing which we are going to enforce it. So we immediately instructed Sheriff to serve them with the order. Sheriff served them. Then immediately after that, I communicated with the group legal head yesterday, then informed that, look, we are studying the order and they are going to revert back to us by no later than Thursday. But we are compelled to enforce the order by any means how if they fail to pay our clients this amount of money within the prescribed time frames.
What's the status around the 3 billion bailout that was issued or given to Denel? What is the status there?
Look, this is an amount of money that we are hearing. We've heard that, look, Denel is going to get a bailout of 3 billion and so forth. So we don't even know what is it used for. Safe to say that Minister Pravin Gordhan said, look, some of the amounts that they have received, that is 3.3 billion and 1 something billion, is not going to be used for salaries. So what Denel is now doing, they are basically keeping the ship to be afloat, but they are making sure that they're not paying their employees with any amount that the state or treasury is trying to bail it out on. So we don't know. But what we've seen as a trend, as soon as we get an order, and as soon as we're about to enforce it, maybe by means of attaching the account, then they say, look, we'll try and pay you now. So we don't know what is actually happening with the parastater. They are crying foul that they lack resources, they don't have resources, they don't have money. But as soon as an order surfaces, then there's money that is now coming out of we don't know where.
But Ipeleng, as a representative, apologies for interjecting there, yes. But as a representative of the employees, you are the one entrusted to negotiate in certain spaces on behalf of them. So at no point did management take you through perhaps the plan of how they plan to utilize this 3 billion when you heard of it?
Look, ever since I've been instructed by these numerous clients in November, I haven't had any meaningful engagement, if not any engagements with Denel, because what we do, we send out letters to them, say, look, this is the position, we got an order, what are you saying? They keep quiet. All that you can see is proof that they've read your email. All that you can see, all that we have, we are serious for record purposes, is an unanswered call. So what we are duty bound as legal representatives is just to enforce the order, you know, not to say that we are obviously reneging or failing to engage in some form of meaningful communications with them. We've been trying to, but then they are not responsive. We were open to such negotiations. If, look, they're saying, look, we have challenges there and there, then we'll look at that and see and come with some meaningful solution to the problem. But at this stage, what is happening is that we are told, no, we've received your order. That is recent. We've received your order. Then we are communicating with it with the legal head and we'll revert back to you. Then they pay. So there's never been any communication. We'd call a roundtable communication with them to say, look, we see that there's a trend. You've seen that there's a trend. We can't be able to pay our employees. This is the reason. This is the budget that we have. This is the surplus that we have. This is what this amount is supposed to be used for, you know, at least just to inform us what the position is. But they're not forthcoming with that.
And then I know there was an undertaking by Denel to sell 1 billion of their assets to just have some sort of cash flow. What is the status on that 1 billion?
Look, we are not privy to that information for starters. And even if we were, we are enforcing what the contractual obligations that Denel has with our clients. We will obviously, as legal representatives, entertain each and every legal document or communication that we get from Denel directly, not from wherever that we've heard, what have you, in relation to their status as a company. But at this stage, we get instructions and we're enforcing instructions. We're enforcing our clients' instructions based on Denel's repudiation of our clients' contractual contracts of employment.
And then just in closing, are employees in fact are reporting for duty every day? What has it been like there?
Yes, majority have left the parastatal. They've since resigned. Some due to the fact that seemingly they are breadwinners, the 20% salaries that they are getting, the 40% salaries that they've been getting for the past 2 years is helpful towards obviously affording all their daily needs. So some of them have left and some are still in the employ. So the status there too is that they are showing up at work, and we are obviously engaging with those that are no longer employed with other subsequent legal action against Denel.
All right, Ipeleng, thank you very much for your time. That's legal representative for employees at Denel, Ipeleng Motshekga. Now, still